Guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled, HOA Banned Ambulance I Bought for My Disabled Son, Claim It's Illegal. Summary. Vile HOA tells a nice family that they can't keep their disabled son's ambulance in the driveway. Family decides to sue for discrimination and wins over $65,000 and they get to park their vehicle where they want. As the mother of a disabled son, sometimes you just have to deal with the way that people stare or treat you when you're out living your life. But when it came to my HOA banning the vehicle I needed to transport Elliot, my son, I brought down the freaking hammer on them. My husband, son and I had lived in our home for about 3 years. It's in a pretty nice neighborhood, even though it's probably a little too nice for us. We've always lived pretty humble, but when we inherited a large sum of money and my husband got a promotion about the same time, we decided to put all of that towards getting a house that was big enough to accommodate Elliot's disability. You see, Elliot is both physically and mentally disabled and requires a large motorized chair to move around. He also needs special equipment for getting him into and out of the tub and many other things throughout the day. Not to mention the type of vehicle that was required to transport him to appointments. The old van that we had broke down and we were needing something that could allow Elliot to lay down when we were transporting him. It wasn't always that we needed this, but it was something that was necessary sometimes. Anyways, trying to find something like this grew increasingly more difficult. We searched for months, when finally, my brother found something that was maybe a little unorthodox but it worked. It was an old ambulance from the last 1960s. It still worked and even was painted the original old red and white. I loved it. But unfortunately, my HOA did not. It wasn't even 24 hours of it being parked in our driveway before we started getting letters. And I mean, daily letters. The frustrating part is that they know my son is disabled and that the ambulance is obviously to transport him, but apparently I crossed a line when bringing such an ugly vehicle into our neighborhood. The letters all claim that it is a commercial vehicle, and that we can't have those parked in the driveway overnight. It doesn't exactly fit in my garage, so where am I supposed to keep it? I wrote my own letters back to the HOA but received zero sympathy or understanding. They only repeated the same bullshit about how it's a commercial vehicle, and that it's not allowed to be parked in the driveway. They began sending fines after about 2 weeks of me trying to essentially appeal this decision. It was $70 a day. I had to take the ambulance to the nearest spot I could safely leave it, which was about 2 miles away in a sketchy parking lot, and hope it didn't get stolen. My husband would have to trail me and we'd ride home together, which was a pain in the ass because someone had to stay with Elliot while we were off doing this stupid and completely unnecessary task. Thankfully, our neighbor Beth is a gem of a human being and would gladly stay with him for the 15 minutes it took to drive there and drive back. At that point, it was obvious that I had to attend a meeting in order to be heard. I couldn't keep having to leave the ambulance 2 miles away. When I went to the next available meeting, it was quite awkward and apparent that some of the board members wished we didn't live there. One woman in her 50s with a somewhat obvious blonde wig and overland lips sat in the middle with a pinched expression. She looked down her nose at me and sighed loudly when I stood up to discuss my concerns. I said something to the effect of, "My family and I need to keep that ambulance in the driveway. It's for transporting our disabled son. Please allow us to have it. If you want we can repaint it so it doesn't appear to be a commercial vehicle." She rolled her eyes and looked at her fellow board members. A few reciprocated her expression but a few of them didn't. The wig-wearing woman clearly didn't like the idea of keeping the ambulance and simply stated, just like the stupid letters had said, it's still a commercial vehicle. It's not allowed per our neighborhood code. Also, there are other vehicles you could get to transport your son besides some old, ugly ambulance. When I tried to retort, she only interrupted me, "Ma'am, I understand that your son has issues, but this is an upscale neighborhood and we care a lot about curb appeal. Also, if we started allowing your ambulance then it's just not fair to others who have commercial vehicles. They follow the rules so you have to as well." "Yes, but it's for a disabled family member. Aren't there rules against discrimination from?" "Excuse me, ma'am, we are not discriminating against you and it is truly defamatory to suggest otherwise." She spoke loudly over me, shaming me for speaking the truth of the situation. One board member attempted to speak up. "Tammy, you know there are except. No, do not speak about things you don't understand." She shut them down immediately. I left the meeting feeling defeated, crying on my walk home. Before I could reach my house, a woman pulled up next to me in her car. It was the woman who attempted to speak up. She said that she wanted to talk. This woman's name was Emily, and she was a true angel. She said that she felt disgusted by the treatment she witnessed in the meeting by the wig wearer. She also mentioned that her brother-in-law worked for the Department of Housing and Urban Development and she knew that there were laws against this type of discrimination. She gave me her BIL's number and I got to work on contacting him right away. Turned out that she was 100% correct and that I was within my legal rights to sue them for not allowing the ambulance to be in the driveway. Through Emily's brother-in-law and the lawyer he hooked us up with, we were ready to get to business. The funny thing was, the HOA thought that they were going to squeeze money out of us in the process. Per our lawyer, he said to keep it in the driveway, so we started receiving daily fines of $70. We were working on gathering information for the case, so we knew it would be a few weeks still. Those fines added up quickly and after about 2 weeks of ignoring them, they finally sent a letter stating they were going to tow the vehicle or put a lien on the house for the unpaid fines. Our lawyer jumped quickly on sending them cease and desist letters for harassing us and sending threatening statements in the mail. That's when we also hit them with the "we're suing your ass" documents as well. Court takes forever where we live, but we managed to finally see our day of justice. HUD and the lawyers were quick to shame the HOA board, specifically the wig wearer, as she complained that the vehicle was ugly and unsightly for the neighborhood's curb appeal, and some other nonsense about how it was unfair to other residents with commercial vehicles. When the judge looked over everything and heard about Elliot and his condition, he was not shy about glaring and telling the woman that she should be disappointed in her treatment towards a family trying to care for their disabled son. He said that she had caused us emotional distress by requiring us to take the vehicle somewhere else in order to avoid her harassment. Needless to say, the wig-wearing witch left that courtroom with her head hanging low. Who's looking down their nose at people now? The judge awarded us a compensation of $65,000 for their discrimination against my family and our situation. It felt amazing and like we finally had justice for Elliot. The board leader actually resigned after that and just kept to herself. Emily was promoted to the new position, which was wonderful because she truly is a great woman with good intentions in mind. The next story is titled, "I did not know that I was not supposed to steal." Facepalm. Yesterday, we visited a garden that my mom owns at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. My mom and I live in the city and we often drive for 30 minutes to get to my mom's village in southern Thailand. The land she owns is too small to be called a farm, and we often call it the garden, where my mom and I can unleash our botanical skill and hobby. We are not farmers by trade, but we have few trees and vegetables that my mom and I had planted, worked hard and cared for years. And on that day, yesterday, we went really early before sunrise to have more time before the sun gets too hot at 10 a.m. in the morning. But as my mom and I turned a corner, we caught a thief red-handed. She, the thief, was carrying 2 large bamboo sprouts, or bamboo shoots, which is the edible part of the bamboo. A bamboo sprout is delicious and it is a staple to many Asian cuisines, and each sprout shoot was at the size of a large newborn baby. My mom was initially in shock because the thief is someone whom she considered a friend and a confidant, a young and a pious friend in her mid-20s who listens to my mom's stories attentively, unlike her only son, that's me, who is often cynical and a know-it-all. I, on the other hand, never liked that person because she seems to have a lot of authority in our affairs, so catching her red-handed felt like the perfect Christmas gift with a big note. "I told you so," and the best part, she tried running away when she saw me before I blocked her escape. I went ballistic from 0 to 100% explosive in 0.6 seconds, and I immediately accused her of being a thief, a liar and a traitor, and it was the perfect setup because her escape motorbike was behind me and I made a gesture with my arms that she couldn't outmaneuver me, or beat me in a physical fight. I am 104 kilograms, 230 pounds, and she was probably 60 to 70 kilograms, 150 pounds, in weight. So instead she called my mom for help despite of her absolute betrayal. For years, my mom has been complaining about theft and vandalism on our garden to anyone who would listen, and my mom often got emotional and heartbroken whenever something that she planted and had worked hard and long for it, went missing. This thief friend knew the exact impact of stealing stuff from my mom's garden, but still she went for it. She is probably the cause of this recurrent heartache for years, I told my mom and everyone else. We did not have a lot of crops in our garden, but we have put a lot of love, time and hard work into it. I had my 2-stroke weed whacker, grass trimmer engine. It's big, noisy and heavy, at the back of my Chevy Cruze yesterday. It is about 1.68 meters, 5.5 feet, long. And it is really heavy, and I had to bring it with me regularly in our 30 minutes journey from the city for years. Only to see this garbage of a human being benefiting from our hard labor. And for years. I told everyone, and I was not mincing my words. We only had 6 to 8 bamboo trees on that land, and the main reason why we did not harvest the sprouts nor the wood ourselves was because we wanted to have more bamboo trees before we can start harvesting them. So this thief, my mom's friend, had just destroyed a year of hard work and planning in one single day. So, explain yourself, thief. Excuse number 1. I didn't know that you will be here today. And as dumb that excuse was, she kept repeating the same sentence again and again as if it was a valid excuse to begin with. She was not sorry that she was stealing, no, she was more sorry that she got caught. In fact, I've never heard her saying, I am sorry, or, it is my fault, to my face. She just kept throwing out more excuses to the wall to see which one would stick. Excuse number 2. Kak Mo, my mom's sister who lives next door, has given me permission to harvest the sprouts. Unfortunately for the thief, my aunt was at home that day because she decided to delay her next chemotherapy session for few days. I was so loud at 6 a.m. in the morning that my aunt and few other villagers came out to investigate the ruckus outside. As you can expect, my aunt had zero knowledge what the thief was talking about, so try again. Excuse number 3. If I did not harvest them, the sprouts would spoil and go to waste. I swear to God that this is the dumbest thing that I have ever heard coming out from her mouth, and she had said some really dumb stuff in the years we've known her. So now she was doing us a favor by stealing our stuff, huh? In case you have any doubt, a healthy bamboo sprout shoot does not spoil, it simply grows taller into a bamboo tree. Again, the main reason that we did not harvest the sprouts ourselves was because we only had few bamboo trees, and we wanted to have few more trees before we start harvesting in amounts that are sustainable. I had to drill this part hard into her tiny brain. That bamboo sprouts are not like fruits on a tree that could get spoiled if we did not pick them up on time. Excuse number 4. I do not do this always. Which is another non-excuse, but it was her main defense to the accusations that I was making against her, and it kinda worked because some villagers echoed what she said, that it was an honest one-time mistake. That she probably thought that the bamboo sprouts were free for all, someone said. Here, I have to call out how naive and protective some of the local villagers are. A 14-year-old boy was caught stealing a motorbike, and they would make an excuse for that theft. Maybe he mistook the motorbike as his own, and he took it by mistake. And someone was caught for stealing a commemorative watch with the owner's name engraved at the back, and they would say, maybe he thought it was his watch and he took it by mistake. And you'd laugh and think that those are extremely lame and unlikely examples, but I tell you here and now that those are real examples of real events that I actually witnessed in that village. Those village people are too kind, too forgiving and too protective of their own, and they are always in the lookout for easy, peaceful and quick resolutions whenever possible. After all, it is not like she had committed murder or had stolen millions of money. She just stole some food, a basic human need, someone said on that day. And unfortunately, that excuse number 5. I did not know that I was not supposed to do that. I thought that the bamboo sprouts were free for all, saved her from further scrutiny, supported with a lot of tears in her eyes and plenty of sniffles in her sentences that were barely comprehensible. This had made my blood boil because women can get away with murder in this village with the right amount of sobbing. I mean, such excuses would work if she was 5, 7 or 9 years old, but she was in her mid-20s and she is not a child unable to see what is right and what is wrong. Again, she never really apologized for stealing in front of my face. She just kept cycling between the above excuses for 20 minutes hoping that one or few of them would land well and score points in her favor. At the end, my mom pulled her friend away to sort out the problem among the women folk. The only real comfort I got was the fact that the whole incident went public real quick. Hey, trust me, in this small community, of mostly farmers, news and gossip spread faster than forest fires and COVID itself, especially about a neighbor who steals crops from other people's gardens and farms. You cannot and you shouldn't hurt someone physically to satisfy your anger and to exert your own sense of justice on people for obvious moral and legal reasons. But sometimes you can cause far more damage to a person with scandal and disgrace in front of everyone. Believe me, this is far from over. The last story is titled, "No Karen, just because you work at the farmer's market does not mean you can use our private bathroom." So, this happened last week. I work at a shop on a small hometown street where the local farmer's market is held. We constantly are asked if we have a bathroom and surprise, we don't. Well, we do, just for employees of course. With the way out shop is set up, there's the front doors and the back doors parallel with each other with a counter and back rooms along one wall. An entrance to the employee bathroom is also on the same wall. Anyways, onto the short story. I was working alone one farmer's market shift and this lady comes through the doors. Me. "Good afternoon ma'am, have you been in with us before?" Karen. Says absolutely nothing and walks right past me down the hallway. Me. "I'm sorry ma'am, but if you're looking for a bathroom, we don't have one." Karen. "Don't worry, I work at the farmer's market at some stupid stand, so I can just use the employee one." Me. "I'm sorry, but that is for the workers of this shop only." Karen. "Well, I'm an employee of the farmer's market, and you're working the farmer's market, so we're both employees." Me. "I'm sorry, but it's both against store policy and health code standards to let you use the bathroom." Karen. "Well, that's all I was looking for. Thanks, a lot," in the snarkiest way possible. She just turned and left. Didn't see her again, but had encounters super similar 2 more times, just not nearly as rude. Thank you for listening.